Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you for everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. And it is your boy, Mr. Karan Rose. DJ, fade me out, DJ, cut the beat. Let's talk to the people. Let's get into today's episode, folks. You guys know we here in the Digipreneur family, we have a lot of fun every time we have to, record a podcast. Heck, even when I write a blog, I like to do a lot of behind the scenes on Instagram stories, and I like to have a lot of fun with you guys, engaging, showing, the process, the things that we do when we are doing our blogs. We like to play our music. We like to dance. We like to have fun. We like to do a lot of crazy stuff when we are creating, because, why not? To me, the creating process is so much fun. I love to see, if it's one thing, I love to see the behind the scenes of creatives work, because the times that people like to create, what they listen to, how they set their spaces up, what their vibe is, all of those things to me are just really interesting to see. Last night I was working on the Digipreneur book, right? And this is I'm working on the first official chapter right now. Like, I've done a lot of the groundwork, but now I'm actually in the process of writing. And I, in my mind, was like, you know what? Maybe I would use, an hour before bed to write. Now, for me, I do all of my creative work early in the morning. So right now it's 7:00 in the morning. The stuff that I've put together, I've been working on it since about 5:30 a.m. this morning. So I do a lot of my creative work early in the morning. All right. But I decided, for the book, maybe I'll make this an activity that I would do before bed. And I tried to do it again last night, and I was like, man, I have nothing to say. But I always have something to say. The work process for me, morning time, everything just flows effortlessly. So when I see creatives, that are like, yo, my time to work is 1:00 in the morning, I'm like, damn, how? Past 9:00, my brain is off. When your phone is about to die and it's like, yo, you got 20 seconds left and we're shutting this whole thing down. That is my brain by 9:30. By 9 p.m., you got 5%. By 9:30, it's like, yo, you have 20 seconds of functionality left, and that's it, my boy. You gotta go recharge. So yesterday, again, I was doing some work, I was talking to everybody on social media, and I was like, yo, I don't know how y'all people create late at night. I can't do it. So now, for the book writing process, I'm just going to have to work it into my morning routine. I tend to do a lot of the podcasting, the blogs, the work I do for clients and stuff like that, or even the work I have to do on my own infrastructure in my business. I like to do all of those things in the morning time, but because the book, it's kind of like it's not due anytime soon, right? I figured I would do it at a time period where I've done everything else I needed to do for the immediate time period. But nighttime isn't gonna work for me. Anywho, Why are we here today? What are we talking about today? Well, today's episode, this is episode number 58, and we're going to be talking about why your business needs an ecosystem. Why your business needs an ecosystem, the brand ecosystem. Now, I was writing this chapter for the book, and I thought to myself, you know what? This is something that is so relevant for right now, especially because we're so early in the year, that I don't want to just leave this. I mean, this is going to be a chapter in the book for sure, right? Because it's a part of my process. But I decided, you know what? Let me do an episode around it, because I'm also going to do a workshop around this topic as well, because this is something that a lot of the businesses in the Caribbean struggle with, but then again, they also don't have the concept of having a brand ecosystem. So I wanted to dive into this topic. It's nice and early in the year. You can, these are things that you're going to be able to start to research for your own brand, your own business, your own niche. And because we're so early, you're going to be able to, put a lot of these things into play. That way you can kind of set yourself up for the rest of the year, or alter your roadmap if need be. All right. All right. So let's dive into it. So why your business needs an ecosystem. In this day and age, most businesses here in the Caribbean are still trying to do what they have always done in order to get by. They either get into retail, they buy products for low, they sell for high. You know the deal. They do something related with food. They open a restaurant, or they open a little spot on the side of the road selling food. No problem. We in the Caribbean love to eat. We love our bellies. So, food is always going to be something good. Or they try to open a bar. Or I shouldn't say try. They open a bar, right? We love to drink. We love to lime. We love to party. We love to hang out. That's what the Caribbean experience is all about. Food and drink and relaxation, right? So now, when it comes to marketing these businesses, they have struggled because so much of the marketing strategies before centered around things that you had to physically do in person. But now, with people staying home, they are less effective. With less revenue coming in to do things like TV ads, newspaper ads, or billboard ads, these costs associated with those mediums have always been high and low reward, or I should not necessarily say low reward, but for the most part, you don't really get measurable results, right? And most businesses haven't, they haven't built the infrastructure to be able to even figure out how to track a lot of these, how to track the results from a lot of these platforms, right? Then you look over at their social media pages. They essentially use it as a free billboard, forgetting the key word in social media being the word social, right? They treat it as if it's a one-way conversation. We can't even call it a conversation. They literally yell at everybody on social media. Buy, buy, buy. And this is from the small businesses right up to the businesses with the largest budget. Everything is buy, 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 right? Every post, product. Here is the product. Here is the service. Buy, buy, buy. Or they give you something super, super surface level that's not enough for people to trust you to buy. Or they try to hack pop culture. Let's just go and hire an influencer. Let's just tap into something trendy and post about it. Or, my favorite, this is where all the marketing agencies make their money. It's a holiday. Let's create a post about the holiday. Right? And that's usually one of the best graphics that they put out. But essentially, for the most part, most businesses across the Caribbean, their social media platforms leave, there's just nothing there. It's just, again, they just treat it like a free billboard. Now, the reason why businesses struggle to gain traction on social media and are struggling with sales is typically because they got into a business for their own personal reasons and not because they were trying to solve a problem for the public. And usually because they themselves aren't experts at what they do in that respective space, it makes showing up in a meaningful way on social media or any of the digital channels, it makes it really hard to do. What people fail to understand is that the reasons that you got into business are not the reasons why people buy. Generally speaking, nobody cares about your business. Sorry, but not sorry. Nobody really cares about your business. They don't care how much you have spent on it. They don't care about your hardships. They don't care about how long you were in university for to get this skill. Nobody cares about none of that stuff, right? People are selfish. They care about how your business can solve their problems or help them with their desires. That's the long and short. I don't care how Massey Grocery popped up down the street. I care that it has what I want when I want it. I don't care who the CEO of the company is. I care that you could feed me the things that I want. Right? When I go to the market to buy my produce, I don't care about how long it took you to grow or what you had to go through. All that's good in a story. But I'm in the market here to buy. I want to buy, right? I'm interested in you giving me a product for, at good value, all right? Now, that being said, if you as the business owner can start your business with that in mind, focusing on, solving somebody's problems and not your own personal reasons. If you could focus on starting that business that solves somebody's problems or help them with their desires, then that business that you decide to start will look and feel completely different. Let's just take a look. Let's go back to, the market example, right? For the most part, I'm willing to say 95% at minimum, the people who are in the market have been growing produce and stuff like that, probably for generations. A lot of that stuff is usually passed down from family to family. They're farmers and whatnot. And they do it because, it's good business or it was good business to be in. They might not necessarily have a passion for it, but it's good business, or that business has just been something that, the family has done for a long time and people kind of just grew up in it, and, that's why they're there at the market. We know that you have to eat. We are going to focus on bygone, or we're going to focus on lettuce or cabbage or tomatoes. We bring that to the market. You buy, right? There is no presentation at the market. There's no long talk at the market. There is no, consumer education about the products, or you're not going there I'm not going to go there and they're not going to be telling me about, why I need to eat more tomatoes or why I need to eat more watermelon. You, the customer, are not going there for that. And they are not the people that are going to be diving into all of that with you. All right. They know what makes money. They know what the cost of their goods are to make their product. They know, what are the pitfalls of growing their stuff. They know all those things, right? And that is how they get to their price points. But when they bring their goods to the market, again, there's really no presentation. It's just there. You pick up, you buy, no long talk, and you are off your business. Now, somebody who has a passion for healthy living and is growing their produce and vegetables to sell, but they have a passion for healthy living, that entire process, how you buy, how you interact with them is going to look completely different. First of all, they're probably not going to be at the market. Surprise. They're probably going to be on digital. They're probably going to have a website. They're probably going to have a social media that focuses on teaching you the benefits of produce or vegetables. They're going to probably have recipes. They're going to be showing you how to make different things with the goods that they are selling. They're going to be teaching you how this is, healthy for your body. They're going to be teaching you things, if you want to lose weight, if you want to bulk up, what are the things that, you can buy from them that are ultimately going to help you achieve your goals, your desires, or solve a problem. All right? They might even have a storefront. All right? So here in Trinidad, we have a company called Fresh. And they sell, quote unquote organic. All of a sudden, and again, this is the beauty of marketing and branding, right? When you go to the market, the word organic doesn't exist. When you start asking about organic and GMO, and they're like, what? Man, I grew this in my yard. I grew this in my backyard. What are you talking about GMO? This thing ain't come from no lab. This came from my backyard. I pick it this morning. You ain't see the dirt on this cassava? You ain't see the dirt on this dasheen? Right? But when you go into, a place, that is focused, that has built a brand around healthy living, all of a sudden, the words organic come into play. Grass-fed beef, free-range chicken or grain-fed chicken or all them terms come into play, right? When you go into a place that has a storefront, they're focused on healthy living, all those things kind of come into play. They help prop up the brand. So when you go into a place like Fresh, it's a storefront. Everything is neatly packaged. Everything is, neatly put away. Everything is, it's a whole brand, right? Now, I've only been to Fresh a couple of times, and I haven't, and again, I've gone there for certain things, whatever. But, I'm just kind of painting a picture between, two different types of brands. And I'm not saying that, Fresh is a place that, you're gonna go there for the education. But I'm just giving you an idea as to some imagery as to how it would look, right? So you go into this storefront, you talk to the staff. The staff is knowledgeable about the products that they're selling. They're knowledgeable about the produce and the vegetables. They might even have, a chef inside there cooking up little meals with some of the stuff for you to try out so you can purchase the ingredients. Right? Things look different when you are trying to solve a problem rather than just being a buy and sell business. Buy low, sell high, and keep it moving. It looks and feels completely different. Right? Now, all that being said, when you build that business and you are focused on solving a problem, it makes building what we call the brand ecosystem so much better and easier for you to do, given the types of work that is going to be required of you. So what is a brand ecosystem? Well, a brand ecosystem is a collection of your business's products, services, tools, marketing strategies, monetization strategies, and the systems that power or connect everything. It is one complex system that works together seamlessly in order to provide your product or service to the market in a seamless fashion. The key here is that all of these moving parts need to work together seamlessly in order to create trust for your clients and do so with an effortless experience when doing business, right? If any part of your ecosystem isn't optimized, it can create either pain for you or a terrible experience for your customer. Let me give you an example. Before I had converted my website to a full e-commerce website, now I'm talking about droidisland.com. I would have had products listed on my website, but clients could not pay for the orders on the website. Instead, they would fill out essentially a request form for the product. I gotta laugh when I think about this. But I mean, I was just getting started, right? I was just getting started. So they would fill out this request form for the product. I'd have to go back and forth in order to make contact with people, since not everybody would respond to emails. So I'd have to take time out to go and make the phone calls, or I'd have to WhatsApp message them or send an email or whatever. But it was never a straightforward process getting, following up with somebody when they have filled out a request form for a product. Then I would have to send them over the banking information. They would either need to make an online bank transfer, and in the Caribbean, it's painful because half the people don't even use their online banking systems, let alone know how to make online bank transfers, right? That is a big, big problem. So then I was also subscribed to a service here in Trinidad and Tobago called Paywise, and essentially, these Paywise locations they were located at any of the lotto booths across the country. So I'd have to give people the Paywise information as well. Or they could go to a bank and make a physical deposit of cash. So they could either go to the Paywise location if it was close to them and give Paywise physical cash, because the lotto booths they were not taking debit cards. They weren't taking links or debit cards or credit cards. So the person would have to go and get cash money, right? Or they'd have to go to my bank. They'd have to go to my bank, one of the branches of my bank, and go deposit physical cash again, right? So all of this is friction. It's friction because, for one, I got to go back and forth with you to make contact about the order. All right. Then I got to send you the banking information. The best people were the ones that could make an online payment because I got it. And it was all digital. They'd send me a screenshot. But even when you send me a screenshot, I'd have to open the email, verify, if they're not within, if they're not a part of my bank, if they don't bank with the same bank that I do, I might have to wait 1 to 5 business days for the money to show up in my account. So all of this is headache for me and friction for the clientele, right? Especially because my business with Droid Island was a drop shipping business, meaning that I was getting the money up front in order to then go to my suppliers and bring in the product. So if I have to wait 5 days for the money to clear or for money to show up in my account, then that just adds more time onto the ordering process, which makes the delivery time of the product to the clients, even longer. Again, more friction. It took far too much time and energy for me. There was way too much manual work that had to be involved. I needed to find easier ways for people to be able to pay, and I needed to cut down on the delivery service time. Because again, remember, your brand or your brand reputation, the perception of your brand, all of those things are made up in your client's mind at every single interaction point. You might have pretty pictures on social media, but the minute I now have to email you for price, or I have to email you to place an order, or I have to DM you for price, and then, to pay you, I got to go to the bank, or I got to wait for you to show up so I could give you the cash. All of those things create a negative experience, and essentially a brand is the sum of its experiences with the client, all right? So once I integrated the payment processor to my website. So I started to look at ways to figure out how to, streamline my process, right? I needed my brand ecosystem to be, again, a seamless experience. So I integrated a payment processor to the website. I also created a payment flow for people to be able to make online bank transfers easier, or even if they had to go in to the bank to make a cash deposit, I needed to make that whole system easier. Once I did that, the whole system worked like a charm. So I integrated the payment process on the website, so people with Visa debit cards or credit cards could just pay online one time. And with the new bank cards here in Trinidad and Tobago, or the Visa debit cards, again, it just made it easier for people to use their bank cards to pay online. But then at my checkout process, I also created the workflow where people could select online bank transfer. They would then be emailed the banking information. So if the person needed to make an online bank transfer or physically go into the bank to make that payment, the email was automatically sent to them with the banking information. At that point, once they made the online bank transfer or they made the cash deposit at the bank, they obviously would get a receipt, and they would either screenshot or take a picture, and they would reply to the email with the receipt. Once I got that email that the money was paid and here is the receipt, at that point, I would confirm the order in the back end of my system. And then they would be, I'd be able to fulfill that client's order. All right. So that's just, one example of one system working within the larger ecosystem. Right. And I'm sure many of you guys have experienced friction when doing business with people simply because they have not optimized their ecosystem. So another example, and one of the big, pain points that I see people talking about right now, this whole thing with logistics. So you find a business on social media, you find them on social media, you reach out to them, you place your order, you make the online bank transfer, no problem. Maybe they don't have, a credit card payment processing, built into their brand, no problem. But you make the online bank transfer. Then that person says, okay, well, I do delivery only to this point, or this point on these specific days. So you have to now meet me to collect the product. That is friction within your ecosystem, and you lose business. People either, find out beforehand, how does delivery work, and then you tell them that they have to now go out of their way to meet you, and they're like, nah, your product is not worth the time and energy and gas for me to go drive out on a certain day. You have some people that are just like, I'm not supporting that kind of business. Like, we have far too many courier companies that you could connect with, and the courier companies charge a minimal fee to deliver a package that you could pass over to clients, and clients would always be willing to pay because it's a delivery fee. I don't want to drive nowhere. I don't want to put gas. I don't want to take time out of my day. Charge me the flicking 50 TT for delivery and let me be on my way. I don't want to have to meet you to get the products. Right? Especially in these COVID times. So you creating that friction within your system and you not optimizing your ecosystem, is losing you clientele. So when we are looking to build our ecosystems, right? When we are looking to build our ecosystems, you want to start with the problem your business is going to solve. That's the starting point right there. From there, we look at the various ways that we can monetize or we could create different products or services to help our clients solve their problems or achieve their desires. So let me give you guys an example. For me, my monetization flows for the Caron Rose brand are as follows. These are all the different ways that I have come up with to monetize what I do. I help Caribbean entrepreneurs in the region and the diaspora build their digital presence online and how to monetize their platforms. That is the problem that I'm looking to solve. And in terms of monetization, here are the different ways that I can deliver on that promise to you. So I am a workshop facilitator, right? I work with different companies to do workshops. I do workshops on my own. So I create workshops to teach people, different aspects of building their digital presence or monetization, right? I do paid speaking gigs. So if people want to pay me to come in and speak on a particular topic, or they want me to come and sit on a panel, or they want me to come and discuss my journey, or whatever that case is, I do paid speaking, right? I do consulting. So businesses or companies reach out, they want me to consult and work with them on a particular project, I consult. I have digital courses. So I've learned how to package my knowledge, and I've learned how to create digital courses to be able to get people from point A to point B on a particular topic. And because they're digital, you create them once, you can use those things to create recurring revenue. But then again, you don't have to repeat yourself. You can direct people to self-paced digital courses, and that's a great way. That's a great monetization strategy within your business. I've also done ebooks. I haven't done an ebook in a little while, but I have done ebooks as well. Affiliate marketing is another monetization strategy that I use. Website and content search engine optimization for business. So that is one of my services that I provide for businesses, that if they have their website or they create content, whether it's a blog, a podcast, or video, and they get those and they want those things on their website, but they want it optimized to be found by the search engines, then I do SEO optimization for businesses as a service. Content sponsorship. So remember, I have, my blog, I have my live streams, I have the podcast. So companies will reach out. Maybe they want me to interview them, or they want me to review a product that they have. And if it fits within the realm of what I do and the problem that I solve, then I would review it, and I make money off of doing that as well. Or if a company just flat out wants to, again, they want to build awareness, they want to tap into my audience. Once it aligns, then they could sponsor an episode of, the live stream, or they could sponsor an episode of the podcast, and we'd make money doing that. I'm also a brand ambassador. So, I've worked with a variety of companies before, but when I've worked with companies prior, when you see me doing content, the only company in the past who I was about to be a brand ambassador for was B Mobile. But, as much as we did all of that work, we didn't end up, going through with the brand ambassadorship. However, we're about to make a big announcement with Flow Business. You would have seen things floating around. You would have seen some content. Those who, follow some of my IG stories, you guys would know that I'm a Flow Business brand ambassador. I'm the first one under the Flow Business brand. And they're going to be making their big announcements, soon. So you guys, if you haven't heard about it, well, now you know, but you're definitely going to be seeing that from the Flow Business side. So I'm a brand ambassador as well. That's another way for me to generate revenue within my business. And I'm also working on the Digipreneur book. And the Digipreneur book, will be able to generate revenue for the business, but also more importantly, to be able to generate opportunities for the business that will also lead into, paid everything else that I'm doing, right? Now, I'm looking at the book as an opportunity generator, but naturally, if the book sells and does what it's supposed to do, then it's going to generate revenue for the business as well. I've also been toying with the idea of paid live events like conferences or summits, but that's still something I'm working out in my mind, right? And my focus right now is, getting the book out the way. Anything else after that in terms of, events or conferences, that'll be, after I finish off with the book. Now, all of those things, all of those come with different price tags. They're aimed for different people for different parts of the buyer's journey. Someone who has found me might not be ready or willing to pay $1,000 for my monthly coaching, but they might pay $20 to come into one of my workshop trainings. Right? So you have a product or a service tailored for every aspect of the buyer's journey, for the people who are, just learning about you, to the people who intimately know who you are and what you bring to the table, right? You have something for everybody. So depending on the client, their needs, the price points, and where they are in their respective journey, we got something for them. Now, for all of those to work, I obviously need the infrastructure to house all of those different products and services. They form the big part or the money part of my brand ecosystem. So all of those different mechanisms that we get paid, that forms the money part of the ecosystem. That is how the Karen Rose brand is able to eat and live and survive for another day, to be able to bring you guys these podcast episodes, right? Or the blogs or anything else that we do, all right? After laying out all of the different ways you can monetize and serve your clients, you then need to research all of the tools and infrastructure you need to deliver a seamless experience for your clients. Remember, any friction felt by the customers in the execution of that service may result in them not doing business with you again or having to think twice about doing business with you again. This is how you leave the door open for your competitors, or for them to be able to even think or find or look for your competitors. Even if your product or service is better, and this is something that Caribbean businesses, forget all the time. It doesn't matter if your product or service is better. Let's just put that out there. It does not matter. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter if your product or service is better. If your competitor can deliver what you do in a faster, cheaper way, or with less friction or headache, they may not choose you every time to do business with you. You will have people who just straight up say, man, you know what? I would love to get your product, but I can't wait. Or I can't deal with the lack of customer service, or I can't deal with the untimely responses, or any friction. They might not, they'll wait out in their head. And if they feel like at that particular point in time when they want a product or service that you offer, if they feel like it's too much headache at that point in time, then even if your competitors don't offer the same quality, they're going to get the business because they might be either, cheaper or just less headache to deal with, or less friction in the whole entire process, right? We all do that. Sometimes you might want a cake, but the person that you really want, is going to take too long. It's going to take too long to deliver the process, or maybe they're not the most responsive person, or they don't offer delivery, and I got to go drive halfway across the country to go and do that. And you might just say, man, it ain't that serious. Let me just go and order from somebody else. Sure, their cakes are half as good, but you know what? It's cheaper, and also they're very responsive in their messages. I could order this stuff online. I don't even have to speak to them, and it gets delivered to me. Man, why not? And we do that for almost every single, product or service. Or anytime we're making a buying decision, we do that math in our head every single time we go out to make that purchase, right? Keep in mind that the reason why we start, looking at the monetization first is because without the monetization, without you understanding the monetization part of the brand ecosystem, then you have an expensive hobby. And I mean, obviously, that's not what you're trying to do. That's not why you're listening to this podcast to begin with, right? We're all trying to build our businesses digitally, and we're not just trying to do things for our hobby's sake, right? Now that we got that out the way, the next part of the ecosystem is the marketing and education for your clients. How are you going to find ways to get your name out there, establish yourself as the go-to leader in your space, educate them to the point where you reduce your sales cycle, you reduce the friction in your sales process, and you get your clients to the point where they know exactly what they want. By the time they reach out to you, they know exactly what they want. You don't have to answer questions or convince people. They've already, educated themselves. They've seen all that they needed to see. By the time they reach out to you, if they even reach out to you, it's just to buy. Well, this is where you got to think of yourself as a media house. You got to become a content factory. Everybody learns in various ways, from written to audio to video. You got to learn how to create assets that touch on all of these formats. You also need to do the research to see what social platforms your clients are using and how those platforms actually work for you to be able to get, the maximum reach and engagement on those platforms. You need to establish your own digital channels to be able to disseminate information and also convert your audience from, the social channels or the channels that you do not own and have them subscribing to the channels that you do own so that you can own the relationship and continue to nurture them as time goes on. You need to learn how to educate through content. You need to learn the balance of how to give everything away without giving everything away. I'll say that again for you guys. You need to learn the balance of how to give everything away without giving everything away. Your content needs to display that you understand your audience's pain points and their desires, that you are the person that can help get them results, that you are the resource that they need in their lives. And you also need to be found at the exact moment that they come looking for you. Because remember, there's different parts in the buyer's journey, right? And you need to be found at the exact moment that people decide that they need a solution to their problem or they're trying to achieve a desire. You have no idea when that is going to be. You have no idea when somebody's going to wake up one day and say, I need to lose weight. What diet? I have questions about diets. I have questions about trainers. You have no idea when that's going to happen. But when that person jumps on Google and conducts that search, if you are not the one showing up, then you don't get the business. This is where and why you need to learn content marketing. Caribbean businesses struggle with content marketing because they are usually not the experts in their space, nor have they created a business to solve a problem for people. Remember, most people get into business for their own personal reasons. Has nothing to do with solving a problem for anybody else, right? They're just getting into it for their own personal reasons. Remember, anybody can get into retail. Anybody can open a restaurant. Anybody can open a bar. If you got the money, you can get it up and running. Then when it comes time to marketing on social media, these businesses tend to just post ads every day, screaming at us to buy. And then they wonder, why the engagement is lower. Then they question whether or not, Facebook works or Instagram works or if LinkedIn is really worth it. It's because, again, they got into these businesses not to solve a problem. Most times they're not the experts in their space. They got into this buy and sell business where they bought a franchise and they want everything to kind of just work for itself. They want to be able to put up a physical location. You walk by, you see something, you buy. They haven't created a business that translates well on social because they themselves haven't started this business with the right purpose to solve your problem, which makes, marketing and talking to you on social media harder. The businesses that do the best on digital are the businesses who understand their clientele. They understand the problem that you have. They understand the desire that you are trying to achieve. And they talk to you, they entertain you, they educate you, right? These businesses tend to believe that, it's a money problem. The problem that they're facing on digital is something that it could be solved by more money. We just need to throw more money boosting ads. Boosting ads is the way to go. And then they come back after they spent all this money and they complain about the lack of ROI and believe that, social media or these digital channels or paid media online just doesn't work. Remember, the reason you have gotten into business is not the reason that people are going to buy from you. People are selfish. They have their own needs and are simply looking to have them met by someone who understands what they want. That's it. In the content game, you need to educate or entertain. In the content game, you need to educate or entertain, and if you can do both, you've got yourself a winner. So here's a breakdown for you of the content arm of my personal brand ecosystem. So as you guys know, I have the websites. I have KarenRose.com, and I do all of my blogging on KarenRose.com. We also have Digipreneur FM. We post all of our podcast episodes to the website as well. So we got the blogs down packed. Then we have the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel houses our short form videos. It houses our long form videos, right? We got our videos on YouTube. Then we do live streaming. We have the live streams on and popping, right? Then we have the social media content that we put out all across the different social media channels. We have the podcasts. We do ebooks. We have the email list. We create content and push content out on the email list. We have the push notification list. The push notification list that we send out, helpful tips and tricks. We push out any events that we are doing, any new content. We push out to the push notification list gang. Then we have the stories platform. We create unique content on Instagram stories, Facebook stories, WhatsApp stories. Usually I use this channel to focus on my behind the scenes. And then we also have Google Business. I put content on Google Business because that platform is allows us to get content on that section on the Google search engine results pages, but also on Google Maps. So all of those digital channels make up the content side, the marketing side of my brand ecosystem. All of those digital channels are filled with content and are done so that they can establish myself as a leader in the niche and help my audience solve their problems. The most underrated aspect to all of this is learning how to be found at the exact moment that someone realizes they have a problem and need it solved. Remember, the first place we go to begin our research is Google. If you are not showing up for the problems or questions related in your niche, then the business will simply go to the people who do show up for those questions and queries that they have. It's just that simple. You need to be found in order for people to do business with you. In my ecosystem, I place the highest focus on creating content for digital channels that allow me to be found via the search engines. I use social media to engage and show my behind the scenes and use it to drive traffic back to the channels that I own. But remember, the goal is to be found whenever someone is looking for the problems in the niche, which is why learning search engine optimization is so critical now more than ever, and understanding all of the platforms that Google indexes and displays content for, this is why that is so much more important now than ever before, right? This is why so many of Caribbean businesses struggle, because they haven't learned how to build that digital presence. They've been and they've never really had to. Everything that they have done has been in-person activities, right? They hire a DJ for the store. They create an ad and they run it in the papers, or they run it on TV, or they run it on the radio. They also have their ads run by those cars that have the loudspeakers on top blasting through, the neighborhoods or the boroughs or whatever. They do all of those in-person things. They haven't figured out how to build that digital presence. They haven't figured out how to be found when people want them, right? Everybody is having challenges at different times of their life. And businesses that create an ecosystem with their marketing and their content strategies and mesh it with their monetization strategies, those are the people that get the business, right? The content on these digital channels is ultimately what generates the leads for all of my products and services. And since most of my products or services are digital and can be bought online, I have a seamless workflow where someone can Google their problem, find one of my blogs or podcast episodes or videos. They could then go down the rabbit hole of my content, or they could, be able to, kind of understand, what they should be looking for. And they can go on Google and Google other resources as well. They could learn about, products and services that I offer to solve their problem. And then they can either purchase the digital product or they can book a call to engage me on one of my services. Having this well-oiled brand ecosystem is what separates everybody in business around the world. The best businesses in the world usually have the best brand ecosystem. All right. So that is it for episode number 58. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working on a workshop that dives into the brand ecosystem a bit more. We're going to learn more about it. We're going to learn about, how to kind of create it. What are some of the different opportunities, the things that we can create? What are some of the tools, the infrastructure that we need to facilitate a seamless brand ecosystem? So that's going to be a workshop that I'm going to be doing. That's going to be coming up in February. So look out for the details when I make those announcements, and you would know about it if you subscribe to me over on social media, Karen Rose everywhere, most active on LinkedIn, Instagram, also on Facebook as well. If you go to the Karen Rose website, all of the events I would ever do are going to be posted there. You can subscribe to the email list or the push notification list as well from KarenRose.com, and you would be notified, again, when these events happen or any new content that comes out. So make sure you guys go get subscribed to the email list on KarenRose.com. Don't forget to check out the digipreneur.fm website. Any podcast episode that we do gets loaded onto that platform, and you can subscribe to the push notification list or the email list over there to be notified of any new podcast episodes that come out. All right? That is it from me today, folks. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And it's Thursday, January 27th, so you probably won't get an episode until next week. So have yourself a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Keep good. Again, make sure you guys are pacing yourself. It's early in the year. We're in year 3 of this pandemic. Pace yourself. Make sure you guys are drinking your water. Make sure you're working out. Make sure you guys are getting healthy, living that healthy lifestyle. Build your immune system, all that good stuff. And just keep your spirits high, man. It's hard times out here. It's hard times. We're all going through it together, and we're all weathering a different kind of storm, even though, we always hear that we're in the same storm. Everybody's being affected very differently. So be kind to each other. Pace yourselves, take your time this year, all right? That's it from me, folks. Have yourself a wonderful weekend and take care!
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Karan Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Karan Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.